Hello everybody, this is Ed McKnight, or Tomiyuki. Ed McKnight is my blog's name. Uh, anyway, it's been a while since I did the video, probably because I had grading to do, I had my own writing projects to handle, so sorry for the delay, but at least you get a video this week. Not that anyone's watching, but yeah, whatever. Anyway, yep, new picture today. My night house with the Imperial Militia. I guess we call them Ryusei katanas now because I think Draconian Defenders sound dumb. So they are the Ryusei katanas now. And my night home was now Ryusei. So yeah. Anyway, I hope you like them. Probably add a new knight hopefully and get a more Horus Heresy games going because I really like playing knights with Imperial Militia. Too bad we can't do that in 40k 10 edition, but maybe one of these days, huh? Maybe. Anyway, as usual, today we'll be doing a retrospective Traitor Legions supplement plus the history of formations. And if you prefer to read instead of listen to my uh, voice drone on and on, you can go to my blog. There's the link at Magnite Blogspot. So yeah, have fun reading. And if you prefer to listen because you're I don't know painting, assembling, doing a hobby stuff, and you need the video playing in the background, then stay tuned because today we'll be talking about Traitor Legion supplements. Yep. So because with the 10th edition Chaos Space Marine Codex up for pre-order, I thought it'd be a good idea to do a retrospective of the Traitor Legions and how far we have come. By the way, at the time of this video release, I think the 10th edition Chaos Space Marine Codex is up for pre-order on Saturday, like 2 days ago before this video is released. So yeah. Um, Having started the hobby at the tail end of 6th edition, around the beginning of 7th edition, I believe this was like the end of 2014, early 2015. So maybe actually just 7th edition, never mind. But I kind of thought that I should focus on this period because this is the period where I actually started the hobby. Now that I think about it, it's like 10 years now. Wow. And perhaps I should introduce, this period to newer players, particularly those who only came in after 8th edition. Most of the people I interact with, they only started after 8th edition, especially, the younger players. And they have no idea what happened and what a wild time 7th edition was. They'd be wondering what the hell are people talking about when they say formations or balance imbalance or, psychic shenanigans. The kind of what was it? The 2-up rerollable invulnerable save with the Screamer Star and stuff like that, or the infamous Taudar, where you basically Eldar and Tau align with each other and all the Riptide Wing and stuff like that. Well, of course, I'll be remiss to, because since we are talking about the Traitor Legions today or Chaos Space Marines in conjunction with the release of the 10th edition Chaos Space Marine Codex, I think before I discuss the 7th edition Traitor Legions Codex supplement, I kind of think I need to actually mention what is known as the legendary 3.5 edition Codex of Chaos Space Marines, which you can see in the background. The third edition of Chaos Space Marines was how do I put it? It was a very sparse affair with only like 47 pages or so. But then this new codex, which you see right here, kind of came out before 4th edition hit, hence its famous moniker 3.5 rather than just calling it 4th edition. This new 3.5 codex expanded greatly on the Chaos Space Marine lore and added a lot of details to Traitor Legions, which actually set the foundation for what we know about them today, 22 years later. I'm not just talking about the lore because I think a lot of the lore can be found in what we call Index Astartes in the kind of White Dwarf chapters back in the 2000s. This was before the whole Horus Heresy narrative, and I guess the background story for Chaos Space Marines for the Chaos factions will flesh out fully. So this actually has a bit of it, but not all. So if you wanted to read more of it, this isn't actually a very good guide. It has a very brief summary of each legion, but most of the lore you have to dig through the I guess Index Chaos or Index Astartes. So yeah. I also think that despite this being an article on the 7th edition Traitor Legions supplement, I should also cover some details of the 3.4 Codex because I think it actually provides a rich history for the Traitor Legion supplement almost 15 years later. Also, you can read Gunhammer's excellent coverage here if you ever want to know more about the 3.5 edition. I think they provide a better review than I do because they are I guess professionals. I guess I'm not a professional. I'm just a casual war gamer. I mostly play narrative. So you guys probably know by well if you follow my blog. I play Crusade. I don't play much. So yeah. So but what we what we do want to know about this Chaos Space Marine 3.5 edition is that it actually laid the foundations in terms of rules and how each Traitor Legion played, the kind of, I guess, flavor, their special unique traits and stuff. Funnily enough, the Black Legion, they got shafted here because they were the generic Traitor Legion without any special rules. Aside from Abaddon the Despoiler, infamous for being armless, the armless as his metal model was always losing his arms during this period. This is back before he got the plastic model. This is the, I think, fine cast or metal model, and his arms kept falling off. And I think this was also where he failed. Most people regarded him as having failed 13 Black Crusades or something like that. I did 2002, I guess, because this is the codex was released in December 2002. So I think this was right after the Eye of Terror campaign, maybe. Quite a, yeah, it's a wild time. It was really really cool. And I think the Eye of Terror campaign actually established, how Abaddon had already been launching 13 Black Crusades, and people were like, so what, does that mean he failed the first 12? So he was known as Failbaddon. I think Aaron Dembski-Bowden did a very good job of trying to flesh out and explain that, Abaddon didn't actually fail the 12 Black Crusades. He actually had specific objectives that he set out to do, and he achieved them without the Imperium knowing. His goal was never to, smash Terror, because he knew that was impossible. Terror was too heavily guarded. The Imperium was too mighty for the, scattered warbands of the various, defeated traders at that time to actually do anything. Especially like the first Black Crusade. That was like what, 1,000, 2,000 years after the Horus Heresy, after the Siege of Terror. Abaddon just barely managed to, reform the Black Legion from the ashes of the, I almost said Lunavos, but I meant Sons of Horus. He basically put together disparate forces from the various traitor legions, such as Iskandar Kaon from the Thousand Suns. I think he's one famous example. He brought them all together and forged them into a new legion called the Black Legion. So he just managed to, regain regain rebuild his legion. Actually, I think rebuild is a better word. So he just managed to rebuild his legion at this point. And don't forget, if you read, especially you read, I guess, the Talon of Horus and the Black Legion by Aaron Dembski-Bowden, it was not very smooth sailing for Abaddon. He also had to face rivals. I think there was a Death Guard guy who was trying to kill him in Black Legion before he kind of faced off against Sigismund. So it was not just the Imperium, he also had to fight against rival Chaos Warlords. So yeah, basically it's impossible for him to just smash Terror during any of these first 12 Black Crusades. Even the 13th Black Crusade, he wasn't directed at Terror, it was directed at Cadia, and he succeeded in destroying Cadia and tearing a great rift through the galaxy, cutting the Imperium in half. So yeah, he's not really Failbaddon, but yeah. I mean, why am I speaking about this? Because we're talking about Chaos Space Marines, and I don't want to, make them look pretty bad. So yeah. Anyway, back to uh back to the Black Legion. So yeah, they look really cool. Um, yeah, that's Abaddon, by the way. You see the guy with the top knot on his head, the skulls. That was his old model. He had this crazy what's that? Combi bolter. It looks like combi bolter. He had that drench yard. Actually, I don't think that's a combi bolter. There's a combi bolter attached to the Talon of Horus, and you can see a Terminator in the background. So this really really cool art. Yeah, but it's kind of funny that the Black Legion doesn't have any special rules. They're basically considered the vanilla Chaos Space Marines at that time. So the only reason why you would ever take Chaos Space Marines is either number one, because you want to fill Abaddon, number two, because you don't have the restrictions. As we will explore later, Black Legion is one of the few Space Marine legions where you can basically take Mark of Chaos. So all the other legions you see, they can only be Chaos Undivided, and they cannot. Most of their units can't be upgraded to, you know, uh, with specific marks of Chaos. If you want like a generic Chaos Space Marine army with all the different types of marks of Chaos, Black Legion is for you. They also have no restrictions on demons, so they can take as many demons as they want. Although if you do that, you might as well play Word Bearers, right? But yeah, but that's Black Legion for you, the standard vanilla sort of Ultramarine Gladius Strike Force type, if you will. The Veterans of the Long War now, if you're playing 10th edition. And then yeah, Faber's Bow. You remember this guy? If you remember, he actually has his own, I guess, Creations of Bow faction. back in 9th edition, I believe, and I guess the War of the Spider, if I'm not mistaken, during 8th edition, the Psychic Awakening series. So creations of Bao actually give his Chaos Space Marines, I guess, specific Legion traits. I believe was uh +1 strength and +1 attack or something. I can't remember. I don't really play Chaos. I prefer playing against Chaos because I'm an Imperial loyalist. You can call me a lapdog for all you want, I don't care. So Fabius Bao, he was an independent character back then, and he's still an independent character now, actually, now that I think about it. You could take him as a Chaos Lord for any Chaos Space Marine army, and he had this crazy stat table where you roll a d6, and depending on the result, you have to pick one of three different sets for the game. So he could have like a lot of attacks, or he could have a terrible ballistic skill and high weapon skill, so it depends on your role. Also, if he's your warlord, you could essentially enhance any number of Chaos Space Marines squads for 3 points per model. Again, at the start of battle, you roll a d6 for each squad, and depending on the roll, you get one of three abilities. If you roll a 1, you basically get something called Berserk Rage, stable mutation on a 2 to 5, or you would have created a monster if you roll a 6, wild times. Oh yeah, since we are at it, I must well tell you what those are. Berserk Rage basically has your Chaos Space Marines attack each other, meaning you make an armor save for each model. If you roll 1, I mean, for that squad. And if you fail the armor save, they die because you have 3 up armor save. So maybe 1/3 of your Space Marines might die. I think those odds aren't that bad, to be honest. The survivors get +1 strength, despite the cost, which is kind of sad. So don't roll a 1, basically. Stable mutation give your dudes +1 strength and initiative. Well, if you're lucky enough to roll a 6, created a monster gives them +1 strength, initiative, and attack. So they basically monster in close combat. However, because they are monsters, they are unstable, unlike the stable mutation, they die right after the battle. They don't last very long after the Fabius Bow's mutations. So they all count as being destroyed for victory points once the game is over. So yeah, it's a double-edged sword, I guess. Now, Alpha Legion gets Chaos Cultists as troops because back then Chaos Cultists were not the thing, I guess. I'm not very sure either, but basically, I don't think Chaos Cultists were part of the original Chaos Space Marine Codex. They are like this special unit choice that you can, I guess, keep bash from your Lost and Damned armies during the what was it, the Eye of Terror campaign, or keep bash from Imperial Guard. I don't know. It's up to you. Alpha Legion also can't take demons except Demon Princess and Possess, and their power armor models can get Infiltrate in exchange for points. The Chaos Cultists also have the option of taking either Move Through Cover and Infiltrate and Furious Charge, or Infiltrate and Siege Specialist, and they get this for free, which is kind of cool actually. Unlike the power armor units who actually have to pay points cost for Infiltrate. Only Infiltrate, I might add, because they don't get Furious Charge, can't Move Through Cover, or Siege Specialist. So yeah, it's just like veterans, Imperial Guard veterans. If you remember, we get demolition experts and stuff like that, or Move Through Cover and Infiltrate. Oh, those are really fun times. So I got to do something on the 5th edition of Imperial Guard Codex. Catagens were really, I think were the poster boys for that edition before the Commissar took over, and then Cadians in 9th edition, I believe. Yeah, no, actually, yeah. Anyway, Iron Warriors, which you can see right here, at least I think they're Iron Warriors because of their, yeah, they are Iron Warriors. Look at the skull right there on the shoulder quadrant. They must be Chaos Undivided as well, and they can't take demons except Demon Princess and Possess. And every model is a Sage Specialist for free. So basically, like Alpha Legion, except that instead of Infiltrate, you get 6 Specialists. They have no restriction on the number of units of Obliterators they can take, aside from the battlefield rules in the Force Organization chart. Because Obliterators, they are actually usually restricted to only a maximum of 1 squad for every other Traitor Legion. So they are basically a 0 to 1 choice. So you can only take a maximum of 1. That doesn't apply to Iron Warriors, obviously. So they are known as the Obliterator Legion. They also get an extra heavy support choice, but 2 less fast attack choices in return, meaning they get a total of 4 heavy support and 1 fast attack choices. They can also take 1 Imperial Guard Basilisk and 1 Space Marine Vindicator, because at these times, Chaos Space Marines don't have Vindicators. Don't ask me why, I have no idea. But you can take them as heavy support choices, plus they have servo arms to repair vehicles, but you need to roll a 6, which is, not very reliable. And then you have Night Lords, who also can't take demons aside from Furies, because apparently Furies are tamed by raptors, or was it what would you call it, warp talons? I don't know. Apparently it's raptors, because they are on warp talons at this time. They also can take demon princes and possess, but other than Furies, no demons allowed. Again, they must be Chaos Undivided because they are Night Lords, and Night Lords don't like demons apparently. Don't ask me why. Go read the Night Lord trilogy by Aaron Dembski Bowden again. He really writes some awesome Chaos books. John French too, if you're talking about Ahriman and the Thousand Suns. They also get night vision for free, and only they get access to stealth adept, which means their cover save gets improved by 1. They are the opposite of Iron Warriors, which means they get 4 fast attack and 1 heavy support choices. So, you just flipped it for Night Lords. Plus, they do not have restrictions on Raptors, which again are usually restricted to a maximum of 1 unit for other legions, so the 0 to 1 choice for Raptors. So it's kind of funny. Uh, Funny enough, for Word Bearers, they also must be Chaos Undivided, but unlike the other legions though, they can make use of any demon. I guess that's cool. Like Black Legion, basically. They can also take Space Marine Chaplains, which count as Dark Apostles, allowing all non-demon units within 6 inches of them to automatically pass morale checks. Also, you want to take lots of demons, which are usually troops. You can take up to 9 troops choices, but in return, you only get 2 elites, 2 fast attack, and 2 heavy support choices. So, yep, lots of demons, but I guess you kind of nerf your other choices. The Apostles actually, because apparently Dark Apostles did not exist in the third edition. So, you probably have to take a chaplain from your Space Marine army, or a Space Marine chaplain model, and then keep bashing him into a chaos chaplain, I guess. Well, we call them Dark Apostles now, and the Dark Apostle currently has a very sweet model. So, plus the two sidekicks that you have that carry the books and candles, they look cool as well. Now, Woe Eaters, this is the Book of Khorne, the Blood God. So if you kind of you're playing Word Bearers, or you're playing Black Legion, or you want to play Woe Eaters, you have to upgrade all of them with the Mark of Khorne. So the Blood God. What does it mean to be upgraded with the Mark of Khorne? That means they get 3 aspiring champions, they can only use Khorne demons, and you add +1 to your summoning rolls for said demons. The Mark of Khorne gives you Blood Frenzy, which means what +1 attack. They are fearless. They must charge an enemy within range. So as long as there's an enemy within 12 inches, you must charge them. You cannot not charge them. They also must make a d6 check during the movement phase, and you roll a 1 or 2, they make a normal move plus d6 inches towards the nearest enemy instead of moving normally. So you kind of run towards the nearest enemy to kill them in close combat rather than making strategic movements. Whether that's a benefit, or whether that's a bonus or a detriment, that's up to you. Also, if they do that, if they move d6 with the additional d6 inches towards the nearest enemy, they can't shoot. So, but you're playing World Eater, so I don't think anyone cares about shooting. They also must make a sweeping advance when winning combat. Obviously, no cycles and sorcerers allowed because Khorne hates cycles and wizards. So yeah. Oh, they're also known as berserkers, as berserkers of Khorne, I guess. But at this point, I don't think Khorne berserkers exist as a unit. So they don't have their own model, they don't exist, they don't have their own data sheet. So basically, any generic scale Space Marines with the Mark of Khorne in the World Eaters army are known as berserkers. So yeah, kind of interesting. The next one is the Book of Nurgle, the Lord of Decay. So this is for the Death Guard, or again for generic Black Legion if you want to upgrade them with Mark of Chaos. The Death Guard, on the other hand, must all take the Mark of Nurgle, which makes sense, I guess. That gives them fearless and demonic resilience at the cost of being able to carry heavy weapons like las cannons, auto cannons, missile launchers, or heavy bolters. I have no idea what demonic resilience does because I wasn't around in third edition. They also gain True Grit, which basically means they get an extra attack in combat because their bolters count as both pistols. Though you do need to already have a second pistol or close combat weapon to gain that bonus attack. However, they don't get the attack bonus on the charge. So if you're a Horus Heresy player, you know what I'm referring to. Charging units get +1 attack unless they make a disordered charge. But yeah. Their vehicles spread Nurgle's Rod for the cost of 15 points, which means you roll a d6 for each unit within 6 inches. On a 6, they take a wound that ignores cover, but you can still make armor and invulnerable saves against it. Nurgle units are immune to it, obviously, so because they're Nurgle. So yeah. They can also only take Nurgle demons, add +1 to their summoning roll for said demons. They get free aspiring champions. So yeah, yada yada yada, the same things that Wool Eaters get, you know. For some reason, they're primarily infantry based, so you can't spam rhinos. Only 2 squads of Plague Marines can take rhinos, and if you want more rhinos, all those Plague Marines in rhinos start counting as fast attack choices instead of troops choices. Right. Yeah, speaking of which, Death Guard, all Death Guard are known as Plague Marines because, you know, they are Death Guard. That's what they are known for. Again, Plague Marines don't actually exist as a separate data sheet at this point. So basically what you do is, you know, you paint or kit bash your generic Chaos Space Marine models as green or sickly, or, you know, put stuff, green stuff on them to make them look like Click Marines. But yeah, they don't actually have a separate data sheet or characteristics. The next one is the Book of Slanesh, the Prince of Access, and this is where the Emperor's Children come in. Obviously, the Emperor's Children must take the Mark of Slanesh. That makes them fearless and gives them Warp Scream. Uh, what is Warp Scream? Basically reduces an enemy's initiative by 1 if you are locked in combat with them. Chosen Chaos Space Marines, Havocs, and Bikers can replace their normal weapons with sonic weaponry such as combi bolters or twin link bolters for sonic blasters at 2 points. If your Chaos Space Marines are carrying non-twin link bolters, you can swap those bolters for sonic blasters at 5 points. Autocannons and Reaper autocannons can be swapped for Blastmasters for free, and Melta Guns can be exchanged for Doom Siren for free. I don't know why it's not Flamers, but, you know, because Doom Siren is actually a Flamer. It's a template weapon. Their vehicles have Warp M. What does that mean? It means it gives enemy units within 12 inches -1 leadership. If the enemy units are within 6 inches, they get -2 leadership. If they are locked in combat with a vehicle for some reason, they charge a vehicle, you know, and they are like in base contact with it, they get -3 leadership. I don't know whether that's useful because uh, vehicles can't, you know, you don't lose combat with vehicles, I guess. But then again, I don't know what's going on in third edition. Only Slanesh demons can be used, obviously, and again they get +1 to the summoning rolls. You also get this generic free aspiring champion again, like all the other monogod legions. Dreadnoughts also get twin link sonic blasters in place of the twin link heavy bolters, or you can swap the twin link autocannons for a blastmaster. Their flamers can also be replaced by a with a Doom Siren for free. Their predators can also swap autocannons for blastmaster and heavy bolters for sonic blasters for free. So yeah, uh, I mean, what exactly are blastmasters and sonic blasters? Well, they're actually just generic assault bolters. So instead of rapid fire, you get I guess 2 strength 4 AP5 attacks at 24 inches. It's assault instead of rapid fire, so you get to make 2 attacks no matter how far away you are from the enemy. And I think the what was it? Blastmaster? Blastmaster is a blast weapon, if I'm not mistaken. And as I said, the Doom Siren is just a it's just a flamer. Yeah. The Book of Zinj, the Changer of Ways. This is the Thousand Suns, and by now you know the drill. Thousand Suns must all take the Mark of Zinj, which in essence turns all independent characters, chosen, and possessed into sorcerers. Plus, they automatically pass all psychic tests. Say what now? Yep, your sorcerers automatically pass psychic tests. I'm not kidding. That's pretty awesome actually. Aspiring champions, which again they get for free because, you know, all monogod factions or all monogod legions get free aspiring champions, also become sorcerers. So again, automatically pass our psychic tests. That's awesome. The rest of the unit become Rubric Marines, which makes them fearless, gives them demonic essence. Again, I don't know what this edition rule is, and slow and purposeful. Slow and purposeful I know because it happens again in 7th edition. They're also immune to Gift of Chaos and Mass Mutation, meaning that they can't mutate into Chaos Spawn because they are Rubric Marines. They are dust inside power armor, so you can't mutate dust. But they can't take any veteran skills, which kind of sucks because usually veteran skills, veteran of the Long War, give them, I guess, additional abilities, if I'm not mistaken. Slow and Purposeful remains unchanged. Back in 7th edition and Horus Heresy 2.0 is still the same now. Basically, what it does is allow you to fire heavy weapons without penalty. That means you don't snapshot when you move and you know, with your heavy weapons. In return, though, you get movement penalty, so it always counts as moving in difficult terrain, and you don't get the +1 attack bonus when charging. You are initiative 1 when you fight in combat, and you can never perform sweeping advances. Well, I don't think you get the difficult terrain now, but you cannot advance in Horus Heresy and 7th edition. You can fire heavy weapons without penalty, but you can't advance and you can't do sweeping advance in combat. Yeah. Weirdly enough, they can't swap their bolters for anything unless they're an aspiring champion. Then you can get plasma pistol and the usual, I guess, sergeant or aspiring champion stuff. Uh, unless you upgrade them to terminators, in which case you can go wild with whatever upgrades you want. Their weapons get coruscating flame, which smacks enemy models in combat with them with a strength D6 AP4 hits before they can attack. So just don't roll 1 or 2 because that'll be sad. I believe that also became what was it, coruscating gargoyles or something as a stratagem in 8th edition, which was kind of funny. They also get the same, can use and summon demons, zinj demons, I mean, and you know, add 1 to the summoning rolls because mono god faction. So yeah, mono god legion. I keep calling it faction. I mean mono god legion, but yeah. So it's for zinj this time. This was the kind of cool customizability and flexibility that you can tailor your playstyle to, which endeared the codex to so many Chaos Space Marine fans. Unfortunately, the next edition saw the customizability and character of the Chaos Space Marines cut, with the rules streamlined from, I guess, presumed simplicity. Still, it was, the 3.5 edition codex was heralded as a flavorful rule set, the kind of codex, lore, and crunch that Games Workshop should aspire to, according to fans. And, because I'm a fan, I agree with them. Then you came 7th edition, almost 15 years later, and the Traitor Legions Codex Supplement was released. Ta-da! Scarab Occult Terminators. And this was also the Thousand Suns Codex cover, which was really cool. Because this also came out after the, I guess, Wrath of Magnus campaign supplement. But that'll be a story for another day. With it was all the lore about the 9 Traitor Legions as well as brand new rules for fielding them, along with new datasheets, particularly for the Thousand Suns who had new units added for them in the Wrath of Magnus campaign book. Those with access to Warhammer Vault can probably check it out. It's still there, so if you have Warhammer Plus subscription, go to Warhammer Vault and you'll find the Traitor Legions Codex supplement there with all the rich lore and narrative detail about the 9 Traitor Legions. But you'll notice that they have a caveat there that the outdated rules and unit datasheets have been removed from the codex supplement because it's 10th edition now and these are like out of date. So they don't want those rules to be floating around for some reason. I'm sure there's plenty of lore videos about the Traitor Legions out there, so you can pick and choose whatever lore video you want on YouTube. Instead, for this video, I'll be doing a retrospective of the crazy formation stuff that exemplified 7th edition as the wild times. So yeah. Because I don't think, because like I said, if you want to read out the lore in the Traitor Legions Codex supplement, you can go to Warhammer Vault or you can visit lore videos, but nobody is doing on formations and stuff, so I guess that's my job. That's where I come in. First, we should probably consider the rules. And what are formations? Back then, you built an army using detachments. So Battleforged armies is probably the equivalent of match play armies today, and they didn't split match play and narrative back then. So, match play and narrative use the same so-called Battleforged armies, which is what we called them back then. What are Battleforged armies? So basically, Battleforged armies, player using the Battleforged method must organize all the units they want to use into detachments. Detachments are made up of units that conform to various requirements. For example, one common type of detachment requires the use of at least one HQ unit and 2 troops units. This is basically the combined arms detachment. Another might require that only units from Codex Ox be included. So these are like the formations that we'll talk about later. As a reward for adhering to these requirements, each detachment grants its own command benefits to the units within it, which can really enhance their effectiveness in battle. You can already see that there's going to be a crazy balance problem right here. There are many other types of restrictions and requirements that players might agree on for their armies. Requiring certain units or name characters to be present in your game, for example, is a great way to add a narrative for your battle. So, for example, if you want to pre-play one of the battles in Wrath of Magnus, you probably want to include Magnus, something like that. Or you want to, include Ahriman because Ahriman is raiding a ship and trying to steal stuff from, I guess, the webway. So if you're playing against Eldar and the Harlequins are trying to defend against the Thousand Suns, you could go, we want Ahriman in this game because that's what the narrative of this battle is. Back then, nobody really cared about tournament, so match play is actually a more recent thing now that I think about it. Then here we go, we have something called the primary detachment. every army has a primary detachment. If you organize your army using a battle forge method, whichever detachment contains your warlord is your primary detachment. This can be the combined arms detachment, the standard one that you use, or it can be one of the formation detachments that you use in the codex, which I will give an example later. If you use the unbound method, which we don't care about, then yeah. So yeah, that is yeah. The traditional way of building an army would be used to use what we call the combined arms method. So yeah. But yeah, before that, I think you probably noticed this little text, which was how everyone went wild back then. This is why. There is no limit to the number of detachments a Battleforge army can include, and you can use any mixture of detachments you have available within the restrictions of the rules that follow. However, all of the units in your army must belong to their detachment, and no unit can belong to more than one detachment, which actually makes sense. But yeah. However, as I said, you can really notice the kind of imbalance problems that's going to arise from here. Basically, there are no limit to number of detachments, so you can basically cram 10 detachments into a single army as long as you have the points for it. Obviously, that's not very practical, but I guess some people can do it if they use the super formation and minimize the units required, the compulsory units in each detachment, I guess. But yeah, uh, but yeah, you can up I guess people usually have up to 3 to 4 formations, and as long as each formation is within the detachment, sorry, within the same faction, all these different formations can be from different factions. So you can have Eldar allying an Eldar formation allying with a Tau formation. So yeah, which I'll go into detail later. But yeah, back to the traditional way of building an army. Usually what we do is use what we call the combined arms detachment. Now it's called force organization chart in Horus Heresy, I believe. But as you see right here, you can theoretically include any number of detachments as long as you took the compulsory choices, which makes things a little crazy. Again, formations, but we'll get to that in a bit. For now, the normal way to build an army was to use the options provided in the combined arms detachment. You notice that it's similar to the primary detachment in the Horus Heresy system. So basically, 2 HQ choices, I guess. Um, basically one compulsory HQ choice with the option of taking an additional HQ choice. You can take 2 compulsory troop choices and up to 4 optional troop choices for a total of 6. You only have 3 elite choices, 3 fast attack choices, and 3 heavy support choices. I guess the Horus Heresy is better in that now you can take, I think, 4 elite choices and 3 HQ choices for your primary detachment. So that is that. So I guess the Horus Heresy one is better. In the past, people used to circumvent that by taking multiple combined arms detachment. So if you want to take more than say 2 HQ options, you just grab another, and you just make a second combined arms detachment with the third HQ option. But obviously you need to split your troops choice accordingly. You need a minimum of 4 troops choices for that. You can also include a single fortification and a single Lord of War. And Lords of War was a great thing in 6 and 7 edition. So like Bane Blades for the Astra Militarum. And I believe Imperial Knights can be taken for any Imperial army as a Lord of War, so there's that. It's still the same in Horus Heresy, which is pretty cool now that you think about it. The restrictions obviously is that all the units chosen within this detachment must have the same faction, uh, which makes sense obviously. And you get command benefits, which means you can reroll the result on the warlord trait table. Nobody cares about that. Everybody just chooses their favorite warlord trait because why would you want to roll for it? And all troop units from this detachment have the objective secured special rule, meaning if you have 2 units contesting objective, the troops choice with objective secure ability will have priority in scoring that objective. So yeah, now we call it objective control characteristic. So yeah, that which actually makes sense now I think about it, because it never made sense that your Imperial Knight could lose the objective to a bunch of infantry squad, to a 10-man infantry squad who probably get stomped to death by him. I mean, if you had like one surviving guardsman on the objective, you can literally steal it from the Imperial Knight, unless your Imperial Knight also have objective secured, in which they will cancel each other out. And again, it makes no sense. But yeah. Now the second one is called the Allied Detachment. Because if we don't really want to take 2 compulsory troops and just want to add allies for maybe say a single squadron of robots, maybe mechs, like death dreads or tanks, because you just want a tank commander and a demon rust tank, uh, and you don't want to take too many veteran troops or infantry squads or infantry platoons, because back then Imperial Guard had infantry platoons for troops choices. It was crazy. We prefer veterans. Veterans was cooler. And you're like, okay, we just want a single, veteran in Chimera, and then we want to, take three Limeras tanks and a tank commander. You take the allied detachment. So yeah, so that you don't have to take two squads of veterans and two chimeras. Again, restrictions. It can't be your primary detachment, which makes sense. You can't use your warlord can't be chosen from this detachment, which again makes sense. It's an allied detachment, not your primary detachment. And again, all must be same faction. And funnily enough, you need to make it a different faction to any of the units in your primary detachment, which is kind of funny. Your troops do get objectives secured there, so yay, I guess. Again, it's exactly the same as the allied detachment for Horus Heresy, and just like in Horus Heresy, I think you can take as many allied detachments as you want as long as you fit them within the points limit. You have, I guess, a choice of one compulsory HQ, one compulsory troops, one optional, I think, one optional troop choices. Though in Horus Heresy, you get up to, I guess, three optional troops choices for a total of four. And here you can only get one elite, so I think you can get two elite choice optional choices for Horus Heresy. Everything else is the same. One fast attack and one heavy support. However, the really crazy stuff is the formations, which was what most people complained about back in 7th edition. People rarely use the combined arms detachments and allied detachments because there was simply no value in doing so aside from being forced to take troop taxes. Objective secure is cool and all, but it doesn't matter if your troops get, wiped off the table by uh, powerful formations, which are capable of tabling your opponent in, I guess, the first or second turn. I don't know. But yeah, that's what everyone was complaining about. So what are formations? Well, formations are a special type of detachment, each a specific grouping of units renowned for their effectiveness on the battlefields of the 41st millennium. While some formations provide you with all the gaming information you will need to use them in your games, it is not uncommon for them simply to describe a number of special rules that apply when you include several specific units together. Instead of including a force organization chart, the army list entries that comprise the formation are listed on it, along with any special rules that those units gain. Unless stated otherwise, each individual unit maintains its normal battlefield role when taken as part of formation. Unlike other detachments, formations can also be taken as part of unbound armies, and again, we don't care about unbound armies. Formation points cost. Formations do not usually include points values, so you just add up the point values of the individual units to find the points cost of the formation. Sometimes they may include the extra points cost in order to use it. In this case, the cost of the formation is the total cost of the units plus any extra points the formation specifies. So yeah. You might be wondering where Chaos Space Marines come into. So this is an example of a formation. This is the Chaos Warband. As you can see, uh, it's a really cool warband, I guess. But yeah, what does the formation entail? There are no restrictions, as you can see, but you must take they have a specific list of compulsory choices and optional choices. You must take one Chaos slot, and the Chaos slot can be Abaddon the Despoiler if you want, or maybe Huron Blackheart, Khan the Betrayer, Typhus, Lucius the Eternal, or Faber's Paw. So yeah, uh, and you may get alliances may be taken instead of sorcerer. Yeah. Wait, what? I have no idea what it says there. I'm sorry, but yeah. Um. So yeah, you can take a 0 to 1 sorcerer. If you don't want a sorcerer, you can just kick him off the army. Yeah. And then you have to take 1 to 3 units chosen in any combination from the following list. Chosen Chaos Terminators and Possess. You can take, like, for example, you can take one chosen, one squad of Chaos Terminators, and one unit of Possess. Or you can just take one unit of Chaos Terminators, and that fulfills your minimum requirement because it's 1 to 3. You have to take at least 2 units of Chaos Space Marines, and with the option of taking up to 6 squads of them. You have to take at least 1 to 3 units chosen in any combination from either Raptors, Warp Talons, or Chaos Spikers. These are your fast attack choices, obviously. And then your heavy support will be 1 to 3 units chosen in any combination from either Havocs or Hellbrutes. If you just want to take one squad of Havocs, that fulfills the minimum requirements. But you can take, say, for example, 2 squads of Havocs and one Hellbrute. You can't take more than that because 3 is the maximum, obviously. Now, what do you do if you play to you tailor your list to fit this thematic I guess, formation thing. Well, uh, when a model from a Chaos Warband earns a row on the Chaos Boon table, don't ask me what the hell that is. I cannot remember. I think it has something to do with some crazy chaos shenanigans where you roll on a table and then you get random bonuses. If you roll a one, they die and become a chaos spawn. Which so don't roll a one basically, or don't roll a double one or something. I can't remember. I think you roll 2d6. So you have up to from 11 to 66 or something like that. It was a crazy thing. Yeah. Anyway, was it 11 to 66? I can't remember, but yeah, that was a bunch of permutations. Maybe somebody can enlighten me on that next time. I can dig out one of my old copies and tell you guys about it. But we are not doing chaos boon tables here. It is a bonus though, so you can roll twice and choose either one or both of the results. So if you don't want your chaos spawn result, you can just ignore that. And the second rule though is why you take it. All units in the chaos warband have objectives secured, and they will control objectives even when enemy scoring unit is within range of the objective marker, unless the enemy is also objective secure. So yeah, this means that it's not just your troops, which generally means your Chaos Space Marines who have objectives secured. It literally means everybody. So if you want to take three Chaos Terminator squads, all three Chaos Terminator squads from this formation have objectives secured. So that is literally the kind of bonus that you get. So if you're fighting against other Terminators, you're like, hey, my Terminators have objectives secured, yours don't, so I get an objective. So yeah, that's actually really strong, and it contributes towards playing the game. And to be fair, this Chaos Warband, the first formation, the Chaos Traitor Legion supplement, is actually very thematic, so you don't spam a single overpowered unit. It seems pretty balanced because it requires you to take at least, maybe um, at least Terminators or Chosen or Possessed. And then you have to choose between Chaos Space Marines. Well, actually you don't. You have to take two. You have to take I don't even know what you have to take actually. I just spoke this. I have no idea what I'm doing. But yeah. So basically you have to choose either Terminators or Chosen or Possessed. You have to choose Chaos Space Marines. You have to choose Raptors, Warp Talons, or Chaos Bikers, and to choose between Havocs or Hellbrutes. Or you can take all of them because the formation certainly provides you the luxury to take one of each option. It is really that flexible. And it seems like it perfectly fits the combined arms detachment because, like I said, you have your generic HQ choices, you have your generic elite choices, you have your troops, you have your fast attack, and you have your heavy support. And even better, all of them get objectives secured, not just your troops choice. So this is like, it perfectly fits the combined arms detachment and provides you extra benefits on top of that. It's a fluffy thematic list that stipulates that you at least take a balanced list, plus it gives you a decent benefit like the extra chaos boons. And yeah, it is pretty strong, but it's not crazy, right? I mean, it's like, oh yeah, all my units get objectives secure. I can score objectives better now. That's better. That's great. But it's not as crazy as wiping your opponent's army off the table in turn one, like some of the other I guess formations do. So yeah, but then you notice the other formations are just spamming a certain type of units. So let me introduce to you the Hellforge War Pack and the Helldrake Terror Pack, which basically uh, requires you to have one Warpsmith in the former, and then you can choose between 3 to 5 demon engines like Hellbrutes, Mauler Fiends, Forge Fiends, Defilers. You want to take 5, just go free. Yeah, and then you get bonuses on top of that because apparently uh, I think one vehicle model get a 4-up invulnerable save or something. And if you get one destroyed, one of them get destroyed, the alpha, I mean, everybody gets rich, which is actually wow. And then they also get to use the Demon Forge rule twice. And Helldrakes, you just take 2 to 4 Helldrakes. It's insane. It's like, okay, I don't have to worry about fast attack choices now because you literally can take as many detachments as you want. Remember what I said earlier? You literally can, there's no restriction on number of detachments you can take as long as you fill the points. So you could literally take like what 10 detachments of Helldrakes. That's like 20 between 20 to 40 Helldrakes. Obviously, I don't think you can fit that under 2000 points, but you get what I mean, right? You can just take 5 detachments of Heldrix and I don't know, maybe 3 actually. 2 or 3 detachments of Heldrix, and that's up to 12 Heldrix, which is far more than the usual fast attack choices that you get when you take a normal combine some detachment, and you can literally take nothing but Heldrix. So yeah, that was like the kind of spamming thing that people were not very happy about. So yeah, so you're like wondering, what's the problem? Yeah, that is the problem. Because I mean, yeah, I mean, originally because we're talking about a chaos warband, there's no option for taking Heldrix or Demon Engines. So if you take these formations in addition to your core chaos warband to give them much heavy power or to give them air cover, that's thematic, and they are not compulsory, so you're not forced to take them. Unfortunately, they are also very good, so that's why people just they will ignore the chaos warband and just take a bunch of demon engines, for example. I mean, I don't think demon engines were that competitive back then, so I don't think anyone's complaining about spamming. I guess how Forge Fiends and stuff, but yeah, I know people spam Heldrix because Heldrix are like yeah, they're flyers, and flyers were a really huge problem in 7th edition. The only, I guess, the only thing you have to worry about is the warp smith tax to get these benefits. Yeah, so yeah. There's also the weird combination. So for example, you don't like Valkyries, you are playing Imperial Guard, you decide to get Heldrix to cover your Basilics or something because you're just taking them as a formation and you can ignore the, I guess, HQ and troops choices that you need if you take a Chaos Space Marine allied detachment. Why would you have Heldrix guarding your, I guess, basilics or artillery? Well, because apparently Valkyries suck, for example, and Heldrix are like the meta, so people tend to do this sort of weird, uh, unfluffy, unthematic lists, and then just make up some stupid story. But people just they're actually just doing it for the, they're just meta gaming basically. And then yeah, here's another example, the color destruction. All you need is 1 to 3 warp smith. Obviously most people just take 1 warp smith and can take 3 to 5 in any combination obliterators and mutilators. And then they all can shoot twice if you are shooting the same target. Or they can attack twice if you are attacking the sword phase. It's like, yeah, you theoretically can get up to 10 units of obliterators and have them all shoot twice at their targets, bypassing normal restriction of 3 heavy support choices or 3 elite choices, and you don't even need the troops choices. Sorry, you don't even need the troops tags because you have all you need is a single warp smith. Well, or 2 warp smiths, so you are taking 10 obliterators. But anyway, this isn't going to be a wine video. I'm just simply pointing out why people found formation so egregious. Egregious. I can't pronounce that word, but yeah, it's pretty egregious. Um, and the kind of balance problems that plague the notorious 7th edition. As much as I sound critical of it, I actually find the whole thing funny and enjoy looking back at the history because it just gives me a sense of nostalgia when I think about how 7th edition was made of these formations, and I actually played a few formations myself. If you remembered and followed my blog, I was actually doing the Adeptus Mechanicus War Convocation. I also did a video on that actually, I think, so if you remember that video as well. But yeah, anyway, back to the Traitor Legions rules though, because if you remember, I brought up the 3.5 codex earlier because we had the whole customizability and flavor return to the Chaos Space Marines at the tail end of 7th edition. This was like December 2016. So yeah, and if you guys remember, 2017 was when 8th edition came. Formations aside, we actually had a bunch of really flavorful rules that made building your Chaos Space Marine and chosen Traitor Legion enjoyable again. So, for example, the Black Legion, they had their own special rules this time that made them distinct from other Traitor Legions. They were no longer the vanilla Chaos Space Marines. There was a benefit to building an army of Black Legionnaires. So you can look at it here. If you remember, the Black Legion didn't have any special rules in 3.5. Now they do. So obviously you still get to include Abaddon, and everybody gets free veterans of the Long War. Yay! What you do want to take note of is the hatred rule. So you need to have the veterans of Long War, which basically is all your Chaos Space Marines, non-vehicle Chaos Space Marines. I mean, so yeah. They have the hatred special rule and can reroll field to hit rolls in every round of close combat when attacking units that contain models from the armies of the Imperium. So if you are playing against Imperium, you have hatred, which is really awesome. I think hatred is only for the first round. So basically it's zero. I don't know. But you get to reroll hit rolls in close combat, which is pretty cool. And Imperium is like the majority of what players are playing. So it's like, hey, this is pretty good. They're also first among traders, which means you can take Terminators and Chosen as troops choice. I don't have to tell you how good that is. Like, come on, man. Yeah, you can literally build an all Terminator army with these. Or your combined arms detachment, you need to take troops tax. No, you don't have to worry about tax anymore because you always want to take Terminators, right? Just take Terminators as your troops, and they get objective secured too. That's literally it's literally one of the best, I guess, special rules for combined arms detachment. In fact, if it weren't for formations, gamers will be remembering this as one of the best Chaos Space Marine supplements ever. Alas, because of the tragedy of overpowered formations and the unit spam, uh, they kind of overshadowed everything that we saw here. And we'll miss this level of customizability and flavor. I mean, just look at the special rules. Um, Also, you're like wondering what the hell are troop choices because you only came in on 10 edition. It means they're battle line. And they get I guess their objective control characteristic gets increased by 1. So yeah. Also, if you're a Horus Heresy player, you'll be enjoying this as a type of Rite of War. Unfortunately, unlike here where they get objective secured, even you take them as troops in the Horus Heresy, I think they lack line. Unless the specific Rite of War grants it to them. So yeah. So this is really cool, like I said. However, sadly, nobody takes this. Do you know why? Because of formations. Not only that, there was something known as a super formation. Excuse me. Super formations are basically a special combination of selected formations that give you even more bonuses for taking a supposedly thematic army. This is an example. The Black Legion can take something known as the Black Legion Spear Tip Detachment. What's that, you say? Well, a Black Legion Spear Tip is a special type of detachment that can be included in any Battleflash army. I like the detachments shown in Warhammer 40,000 rules, which is your combined arms detachment and light detachment. It has a force organization chart whose slots are a combination of specific formations and army list entries instead of battlefield rules. So yeah, this is why nobody took combined arms detachment. However, it still has compulsory and optional elements, as well as restrictions and command benefits, just like any other detachment. Sounds cool, right? So what exactly is the Black Legion Spear Tip? And what formations do you need? So right here, you need the Black Legion Warband, which is a specific core. Wait, sorry, I should start from the beginning. So basically, the detachment must include at least one core choice and one auxiliary choice. So you can see the 1 plus and 1 plus. There is no limit standard. There's no restriction to the number of maximum number of this auxiliary that you can take or core. So you can theoretically take an infinite number of core and infinite number of auxiliary if you want. Obviously, nobody does that, but yeah, in any combination. You can take 0 to 5 command choices. So yeah, only the data sheets listed here can be included in this detachment, and all units must have the Chaos Space Marine faction, which yeah, makes sense. So what you get for the core detachments, you have something called the Black Legion Warband, which is a formation unique to the Black Legion, and the Hounds of Abaddon, which again is another unique formation. So yeah, it's pretty cool. You can also take for your command choices, which you have 0 to 5 options of. So you can choose not to take any command choices you don't want to. You can just take nothing but core and a bunch of auxiliary. Um, but if you do want to, you can bring, say, the Bringers of Despair, which I guess I don't know what that is. The Cyclopia Cabal, which is a bunch of sorcerers. The Chosen of Abaddon, which is a bunch of I guess lords, and they are basically the advisors, the right hand man of Abaddon. So you have, like, I guess, a bunch of chaos lords, sorcerers, and other characters that usually you wouldn't take otherwise. It helps you bypass the HQ restriction of regular combined arms detachment. Or you can take Lord of Legion, which will be your warlord. So either Abaddon the Despoiler, a Chaos Lord, Sorcerer, Dark Apostle, or Demon Prince. So you can just take him by himself and say, hey, that's my command, that's my warlord. So yeah, this will be your primary detachment, by the way, if you do that. Obviously, you're using this as your primary detachment. Otherwise you're like investing a lot of points into it for for little to no return. Yeah, well, actually, not little to no return. I'm sorry. You basically are investing far too many points into this to not make it your primary detachment. That's what I meant. And for auxiliaries, you can have the Lost on the Dam, which is basically a cultist formation. Hellforge War Pack, we already covered that earlier, the Fortune, Molifins, and Defilers. Demon Engine Pack, which are more Demon Engines. I don't know why there's a separate one from Hellforge War Pack. I guess it doesn't need I guess it doesn't need a Bob Smith. I don't know. Heldrick Terror Pack, again, we saw that. Cloud of Destruction is basically the ones with the Obliterators and Mutilators, again with the Warpsmith. We saw that earlier. Feast of the Gods. You're wondering what that is? It has nothing to do with Chaos Gods. It's literally just Predators and Vindicators. It's your tanks, basically. Your battle tanks. Raptor Talon, your Raptors. And I think Warp Talons as well. Terminator Annihilation Force, which is, yeah, obviously, you can tell from the name, is concentrated on Terminators. And you can take 1 to 3 units of Chaos Spawn, if for some reason, because you don't have a formation for spawn. They're just there to they are just there to spawn. Yeah. Anyway, what do you now if you decide to take that? So, for example, you want to build the Black Legion Spear Tip. You can take maybe the Black Legion Warband. Then you can take maybe, I guess, I don't know, Terminator Annihilation Force. So that's your like core and compulsory auxiliary stuff. If you want to, you can take maybe an additional Hounds of Abaddon, because you can take more than one core. Or you can take 2 Legion Warbands, or you can take 2 Legion Warbands and 2 Hounds of Abaddon formations. Yeah, it's totally up to you, but I that would be boring, right? And for the auxiliary choices, you have like, you literally have 9 choices. You can take Demon Engines, you can take Heldrakes, you can take Chaos Spawn if you like, I don't know, you're trying to be funny. You can take your battle tanks on the Feast of the Gods, you can take Raptors, you can take Cultists. That's your loss on the dam. So yeah. And then you can you have spare points left over, or you want to be thematic, or you want to use the command stuff. You can use the Cyclopia Cabal to do sorcery stuff, or Chosen of Abaddon to get even more bonuses and command benefits. So yeah. No one's gonna take a lot of Legion, because you can just take the formations for extra benefits, and just taking a single lot of Legion doesn't give you any benefits. So I think people rarely do that. Now that you assembled it, what do you get? Everybody gets Fear and Crusader. Well, if you're not a vehicle, that is. So usually people don't take it. I guess your Demon Engines, your Predators don't get it, but your other units get it. Your Raptors get it. Your Spawn get it. Your Terminators get it. So yeah. I think your Hellbrutes are vehicles, never mind. And then any units with Deep Strike special rule can make a reserve roll to see if they arrive from the Deep Strike reserve on the first turn. That's your Terminators, requiring a roll of 3 up, because that's the rules. You need a 3 up. Usually you can only Deep Strike in the second turn. So basically the benefit of taking detachment is allow your Chaos Terminators to Deep Strike in turn 1. In addition, if this is your primary detachment and your Warlord has the Deep Strike special rule, so basically a Chaos Lord in Terminator armor or Sorcerer Lord in Terminator armor, you can choose to automatically pass the unit's reserve rule to arrive on the first turn. So I believe Abaddon, the spoiler, also has Deep Strike, so you attach him, because he's an independent character, you attach him to Terminators, you can just have them automatically arrive on turn 1. That's how powerful it is, yeah. It's kind of insane, right? But this is still fairly tame actually when you compare it to, say, the Gladius Strike Force that gives you 3 dedicated transports, so you can take almost an infinite number of Rhinos and Razorbacks. So people spam Razorbacks back then, or even the Eldari one. I think the Eldari has a Warhorse one. Good lord, those are the times. But I think Black Legion, when you look at it, is fairly thematic and it's not too outrageous. The Alpha Legion also seems pretty cool. If you recall in 3.5, they have cultists as troops, and they are basically can infiltrate. Here, well, Alpha Legion, well, you can't take any units with Mark of Chaos or upgrade them to get Mark of Chaos, because Chaos are divided for some reason. But everybody, you can take troops. You can take Chosen as troops, which is pretty good actually. So Chosen, back then, are basically company veterans, I believe. So you can just give them like 5 plasma guns or 5 melta guns, because they are chosen. They can take any special weapons they want, and they are troops, and their objective secure. So yeah, that's how good chosen are, and that's how good this special rule is. In addition, all units of chosen, Chaos Space Marines, and Chaos Cultists have the infiltrate special rule. And I guess this reminds you of 3.5, right? There's not many changes. Their infantry still have infiltrate. I guess Chosen being Chosen is an improvement. And the Warlord thing, the many hits of the Hydra. So basically, if your Warlord is slain, you can select another character, Alpha Legion character, to take their place and become your new Warlord. And you can do that as many times as you want, as long as you have independent characters to take their place. Also, if your Warlord is from an Alpha Legion detachment or formation, uh, your opponent will only achieve the what was it, the objective of slaying the enemy warlord, which is slay the warlord basically, if they kill all the characters in your Alpha Legion detachment. So yeah, you also, yeah, so as I said, you can't take any units with Mark of Chaos. That means you can't take Plague Marines, Rubric Marines, Noise Marines, and Combat Circles, which is fair, I guess. Now, the Sounds of Alpharius have a special super formation called Insurgency Forces. It's pretty tame, but still very thematic. So yeah. Uh, uh, what can you do? Sadly, I don't know what to say. I mean, it's sad, right? It's really sad. Let's compare it to the Black Legion. Black Legion has like so many more, and then you come to the Alpha Legion and you're like, wait, we only have one core choice? Yes, you only have one core choice, the Chaos Warband. And that's the generic core formation that yeah, yeah, it's pretty sad. So again, you have to take one core choice and one auxiliary choice, and then you can take 0 to 4 command choices, which is just a single lot of Legion. You don't even get the command choices that the Black Legion have, like the Bringers of Despair, Cyclophia, Cabal. Oh my gosh. Uh, sad times for Alpha Legion. So, but what you do get is if you take a Chaos Warband of a bunch of, as I said, your Chaos Space Marines and Chosen with Infiltrate, because, they all get objectives secured and they get Infiltrate, which is pretty cool actually. And then you get your, where is it? The Lost on the Dam to give even more Infiltrate counters. So that's the kind of, I guess, thematic insurgency forces that you do if you are building this army. Everything else just doesn't really make sense for this army. So yeah. On the other hand, every non-vehicle unit gets shrouded. So yay. And your chaos counters, and again, this is why you should and must take the loss on them, otherwise you're just missing out on Alpha Legion's bonuses. Not only do you get infiltrating counters, you can replace your counters on the forum every time they die. It's basically the 7th edition version of sending the next wave. Except that instead of costing stratagem points or command points, you need to roll d6 and respawn them on 4-up. So just don't roll a 1 to 3. And even if the new unit, which they count as their own unit, so if they are destroyed, you can do the same thing again. So as long as you keep rolling a 4-up, you can infinitely spawn cultists no matter how many times your opponent kills them. It's pretty cool actually. Uh, but yeah, it's kind of sad when you look at the lack of options. What about Iron Warriors? So Iron Warriors obviously no longer have Sage Specialists, but they get a 6-up Feel No Pain, as you can see. They also get the Blood Feud against Imperial Fist. Poor Dawn, Sons of Dawn. They also get they get to reroll armor penetration rolls against buildings and a bonus to the building damage table rolls. And they can also take obliterators and mutilators as troops, which is a callback to when they are ignored of 0 to 1 restriction obliterators in 3.5. Even better, your guys, your obliterators, mutilators, and havocs all get Tank Hunter. Pretty cool actually, right? You don't get any Marks of Chaos though, which is another callback to 3.5, the whole Chaos Undivided. Again, they have a super formation called the Grand Company, which is pretty on point for them. Unfortunately, yeah, the only now hold on a second, you may cry. You may have noticed that the list is exactly the same as the Alpha Legion one, aside from having an extra Strongholds of Chaos that gives them 1 to 3 fortifications, because Iron Warriors, right? Aside from the super formation benefit, there isn't much of a difference. It's almost like they cut and pasted the Alpha Legion one, with the same lack of options. I kind of prefer the special rules to the Furiate formations because at least that emphasizes the difference and composition of army as opposed to saying, you get the special rule for everyone, right? Yeah. And what do you get if you take the Iron Warriors Grand Company? you get to reroll scatter dice, I guess. You shoot barrage or ordnance weapons. Where you gonna get that from? I do not know. I guess Vindicators and whatever in your Feast of the Gods. But yeah, otherwise you don't really have much barrage weapons in this formation. It's really weird. It's a really weird thing. You can't take Basilisk. Basilisk is a 3.5 edition thing. On the other hand, all non-vehicle units get stubborn. And if they are all inside the fortification, they get fearless. So I guess the Iron Warriors have that going for them. And yeah, you might as well just take a combined arms detachment with a bunch of Havocs, Obliterators, and Mutilators, you know, as troops, and start smacking vehicles about with tank hunters. I mean, you could do that with Cult of Destruction anyway, but you have to take a bunch of stuff that you don't really want to for your Chaos Warband. Yeah, I don't know. It's just lackluster. Night Lords used to be the opposite of Iron Warriors, but now they get Raptors for troops. Again, it's a callback to when they had no restrictions to the 0 to 1 Raptors option. So they actually get night vision and stealth like in 3.5, but they also get fear now. That's very interesting. They also apply penalty to leadership tests when locked in combat, and also you can't take any marks of chaos, which is again the callback to 0.3, the old 3.5, meaning they must be chaos undivided and they can't take demons and the usual stuff. And we had something called Murder Talent detachments. Thank the Dark Gods. We finally have something different for a change. You notice that oops, you notice that we have a new option for core choices. Thus, I shall introduce the Raptor Talent to you. You see the Raptor Talent over there? It used to be auxiliary choice for Iron Warriors and Alpha Legion. Now you get that as core for Night Lords. It's actually pretty cool. If you do that, and you, for example, you choose a core detachment for Raptor, you choose a Raptor talent for your core detachment for your Night Lords, you get this few, you get a bunch of pretty sweet bonuses, such as Strike Fast, Strike Hard, which allows you to reroll field charges for units from detachment, and you can choose to activate Night Fighting. They are automatically successful, so you don't need to roll for Night Fighting. And when night fighting rules are in effect, all non-vehicle units in this detachment get add 1+1 to their cover save. Now that's a nice callback to the old stealth adapt rules. If you remember, we were talking about 3.5. They have something called stealth adapt, which gives them a bonus +1 to their cover saves. That's it. That's what Nocturnal Warfare is. The auxiliary choices on the other end are the same old, so there's nothing to see here. Remember when word bearers are the only ones who can take chaplains from Space Marine Codex, also known as Dark Apostles? Pepper Reach found remember. Anyway, it's back in the form of giving Zealot to any any units within 6 inches of Dark Apostles, because Dark Apostles are now an actual unit. They have their own datasheet in 7th edition. Also, to drive home the whole demon thing, you can have possess as troops, and you get a +1 to your summoning rolls whenever you cast a demonology, conjuration, psychic power. That's a mouthful. Well, that's your word bearers. On the other hand, unlike all the other Traitor Legions we have seen so far, with the exception of the Black Legion, you can upgrade units with the Mark of Chaos. However, you cannot take Con Berserkers, Noise Marines, Plague Marines, or Rubric Marines. As a Black Legion thing only, sorry. The word bearers do get something called the Grand Host, which, like the Night Lords, actually offer you an alternative option to the whole boring Chaos Warband. Man, I'm getting sick of seeing Chaos Warband in every core requirement. So basically, what we do have is the Lost and the Dam. You have the option of selecting counters as a core, which means you can just spam counters instead of needing, I guess, Terminators, Chaos Space Marines, Chosen, Havocs, Hellbrutes, and the like. And what was it? Bikers. In return, all non-vehicle units in detachment have the Crusader special rule, including your counters. Your counters are literally Dark Crusaders. At the start of the turn, you can also, make a roll on the Chaos Boon for any character or something like that. Although they can benefit from these rule ones and roll again on Chaos Boon as normal. So they basically get extra Chaos Boon, I guess. You do need a Dark Apostle to lead your Lost in the Dam though. So basically Lost in the Dam, I said it was your cultist formation. It requires a single Dark Apostle leading like 3 to 9 units of cultists or something like that. Aside from that, you have the same old generic auxiliary options, but I think the core is really what you need to make your Chaos Space Marine army stand out from the others. So, for example, Chaos and them for Word Bearers and what was it? Raptor Talon for the sorry, I almost say Word Bearers. I meant Light Lords. So yeah, that actually makes distinguishes them from say Alpha Legion and Iron Warriors, both of whom have to take Chaos Warband. It's just sad. Now to the Mono God Legions. This will be fun. The World Eaters. It's mostly the same as 3.5, but you do get Con Berserkers as troops now because they actually exist as a unit now. They also get their own data sheet. So yeah. You also get Adamantium Wheel. Oh yeah, and they have plastic models by then. The plastic models are pretty old, I guess, but and we just had a new plastic model like what last year, I believe. Yeah, beginning of last year because we had a new 9 edition World Eater Codex. Like 6 months before 10 edition came. As I said, you get Corn Berserkers as troops. They also get Adamantium Wheel, which gives them protection from psychic spells, basically. And they get Fearless and Furious Charge. So if you remember 3.5, that's what they do. They get Fearless. They no longer have the Blood Frenzy. So Furious Charge is much better than Blood Frenzy. I'll take that. They also get the Butcher Hordes, which is something, I guess. Now you'll notice that the World Eaters do get a special call called the Maelstrom of God, which focuses on Corn Berserkers. They also get an additional auxiliary option, which is called the Trinity of Blood. What the hell is the Trinity of Blood? It's 3 Lords of Skulls, basically. Enjoy. The Thousand Suns! Yay, that's my legion. My favorite legion. Where do I even begin? I'll go in more detail when I finally do an article on Wrath of Magnus, but that's for another day to worry about. For now though, let's just say the Thousand Suns were in a bit of a weird spot back in the end of 7th edition. They had new plastic models, new new Rubik Marines, Exalted Sorcerers, Zangors, and Scarab Occult Terminators, and even Magnus himself, plus a whole new slew of rules. In fact, their datasheets are also included in the Traitor Legion campaign, codex supplement. So you didn't buy Wrath of Magnus and you had no interest in campaigns, you could just purchase the codex supplement Traitor Legions and just play Thousand Suns from there. But yeah, but then I guess what's weird though is that they unlike in 8th edition, they have yet to receive their own codex, so you still have to rely entirely on this Traitor Legion supplement or Wrath of Magnus either way. You could also actually grab the Chaos Space Marine Codex and apply these rules to them. So basically, yeah, as you can see, it's not that much different from 3.5, except that you don't turn all your characters into sorcerers because of Mark Kozinch works differently from before. Rubik Marines and Scarab Occult Terminators are their own units and they have their own datasheets, which again, as I said, are included in both this Codex supplement and Wrath of Magnus. And they have their own Aspiring Sorcerers or Scarab Occult Sorcerers. So if you take a Chosen and you give him Mark of Zinch, their Sergeant doesn't become an Aspiring Sorcerer. Also, the Rubik Marines and I think Scarab Occult Sorcerers come imbued with the Slow and Purposeful rule, which is again a great callback to the old 3.5. What is great though is that they improved their invulnerable save by 1 if you cast a blessing on them, improving their durability. This was great because you can usually get a 4-up invulnerable save on them reliably. Also, you no longer auto-pass psychic tests anymore. I guess that was broken. But given the number of psychers and sorcerers you can take in their psychic mastery, so you can most of them like level 2 or 3, can generate a massive pool of warp charges. Warp charges, you ask? Please don't ask me. 7th edition Psychic Phase was and still is a complete mystery to me, which was why I never bothered with Thousand Suns and Horus Heresy 1.0. Like hell, I tried to navigate the bewildering warp charges full and rolling just to cast a single psychic spell or something. I had no idea how it worked. Apparently, you generate a number of warp charges equal to the total sum of psychic level mastery in your army. So you put them aside and then you just roll a bunch of dice. And for each 4-up, I guess, because I'm not very sure. Uh, how do I explain it? I can't remember it because I never really bothered the psychic spell. So let's say I have 2 sorcerers. A level 3 psychic mastery sorcerer, exalted sorcerer, and then Ariman, who's I guess level 3 as well. I don't think it's level 4. I don't think level 4 psychic characters existed back then. So there's a total of 6. So you put aside 6 dice for warp charges. So there's your 6 warp charge dice. Now, let's say you want to cast a psychic spell called, say, Doombolt. Doombolt says it's warp charge 3. So you need to at least roll 3 dice from the warp charge pool. However, you can only get Doombolt off from warp charge 3 if you roll 3 dices that are 4 up. That sounds harder, right? That sounds pretty hard. So what most people do is they roll all 6 dice, and because 50%, there's a 50% chance of getting them uh, off on if you roll 6 dice because you need a 4 up, right? And you get at least 3 out of the 6 that you get at least 4 ups out of the 6 dice you roll. The psychic power goes off. So that's basically how psychic powers work back then in 7th edition. So yeah. Obviously, if you're playing Thousand Suns, you probably want as many warp charges as possible, so you don't just stick to sorcerers. You basically take like 10 sorcerers to get 30 warp charge dice or something like that, all of them level 3. So that you can reliably roll a bunch of dice and get off your important spells. Yeah. Divination, for example, Divination Prescience counts as Blessing. Prescience allows you to reroll hit rolls. So you cast it off, get it off, and then not only they can reroll hit rolls, they also get a +1 to their invulnerable save, which gives them a 4 invulnerable save. Also, Rubric Marines are troops. Yay! Now, I would like you to behold the Grand Coven, which was first introduced in Wrath of Magnus. It's the super formation unique to Thousand Suns and is actually the most flavorful and thematic of the bunch we have seen so far. Okay, maybe I'm biased because we had the Black Legion stuff, but I still think Thousand Suns are better. Back then though, this was a really big deal because it allowed you to build a truly unique Thousand Suns force without having to rely on the generic Chaos Space Marine units from the regular codex. Again, I emphasize, this is 7th edition, the Thousand Suns codex did not exist back then. You only got a codex in 8th edition. Aside from the demons and demon engines and vehicles, which you still need if you are taking them from the Chaos Space Marine Codex, because you didn't actually have data sheets for your demon engines and vehicles here. So if you want to take a predator for your Thousand Suns, you have to go refer to your Chaos Space Marines. Yeah, it was kind of silly, but yeah. Of course, you notice that it's completely different from all the other Traitor Legion super formations. So what do we have? First off, you'll notice that you can take a war core battlefield with Rubric Marines or Segment Terminator team formation as your core, which is known as the Segment Conclave. If you want more cycles, you can take Exalted Sorcerers or even Ahriman himself surrounded by other Exalted Sorcerers, which is basically Ahriman's Exiles. And each box has 3 Exalted Sorcerers. So yeah, that's basically 9 warp charges for you if you upgrade all of them to level 3. So you can potentially get like a lot of warp charges. The formations themselves, such as the Rihati Warsack, the War Coven, and Ahriman's Exiles, gives you bonuses to psychic tests, allowing you to harness warp charges on a 3-up instead of the usual 4-up. I mentioned this earlier, right? I tried to explain how you use psychic spells. So instead of worrying about 50%, it goes up to I think 66% now. So for example, you want to get a warp charge 3 power off. Instead of rolling all 6 dice, you just need to roll, I guess, 4 or 5 dice to get your 3 up. The Segment Conclave increases the toughness of its units, especially the Terminators. So you don't get psychic bonus for the Segment Conclave, but you have toughness 5 Terminators or something, and toughness 8 Demon Queens or something like that, and toughness 8 Magnus or something like that. It was a really cool stuff. You also notice that you don't need a Warpsmith text to include any demon engines or tanks in your army, because as you can see, the auxiliary force is just demon engines, 1 unit chosen from the following, or you can choose 1 vehicle from the Legion armory. Plus, you can reroll Perils of the Warp and cast more psychic spells if you want because of Masters of the Arcane Knowledge. That is pretty much your bonus for the Thousand Suns. That truly makes your army Thousand Suns, right? Because you are actually running a bunch of Rubric Marines, Exalted Sorcerers, Scarab Walkout Terminators. You really want, you can even run a Zengor Warherd with your bunch of Zengors. So yeah, really fun times. I never played these because I only had Thousand Suns in 8 and 9, and I sold them before 10 because I wanted to focus on Horus Heresy for my Thousand Suns, and I didn't really enjoy the army. Also, I needed the money because I'm a poor graduate student. But I can definitely see the appeal of running this, right? It's just that the whole psychic phase was so complex, I kind of got turned off by it. So yeah, I do wish I at least tried to play this, but it's just funny. Now the Death Guard. They haven't changed much since 3.5, keeping fearless, but now they have feel no pain. I wonder if demonic resilience was the same because we had disgustingly resilient in 8th edition, which is basically a 5-up feel no pain. And they also get relentless. Their troops, which are Plague Marines, also became their own thing because I guess they had their own data sheet. I believe they are toughness 5 in this in 7th edition, but at this point they didn't have their own codex and plastic models. Those will come later in 8th edition. So if you wanted to do Plague Marines, what you do is you grab generic Chaos Space Marines and paint them no go. So yeah, and then you call them Plague Marines. Shortly after Thousand Suns was released in 8th edition, so yeah, they get their own codex, and they actually have an expensive range that's the largest when compared to the other monogod factions released so far. They do reduce their initiative by 1, and they no longer gain an extra attack when fighting, so no more bolters as both pistols nonsense. In exchange, they can take heavy weapons now. So yeah, you can take your last cannons and whatever for your Havocs or your Chaos Space Marine squad. Plus, they also benefit from taking as many heavy weapons as possible because they all get relentless. If I'm not mistaken, during this time, many started fielding Death Guard Havocs, and this actually resulted in the outcry when Death Guard received their own codex in edition because all those relentless Havocs were invalidated. This is why you don't meta game. Sons of Motarion, Vectoriums. What do they do? Aside from Plague Colony, which they get as core, which is basically a bunch of Plague Marines, not Chaos Marines. Space Marines, you can just do with the generic Chaos Warband. But yeah, if you want, you can just take Plague Colony, which is their core, their Plague Marine core. They appear to play the same as other Chaos Space Marines. Just tougher, they have Feel No Pain and Relentless. So there is actually a benefit to taking the Chaos Warband because of the Havocs. This was one of the few cases where it was simply better to take Chaos Warband over the Plague Colony because Plague Marines just weren't very good. I mean, Toughness 5 is good, I guess, with the Feel No Pain, but uh, they didn't kill enough stuff. And there's still a lot of weapons that can kill them, like Strength D people were spamming Strength D at that time. So instant death, your Feel No Pain is useless against instant death weapons. Also, Stealth benefited the Chaos Warbands. Again, Havocs, more than Plague Marines who want to be up close because Plague Colony, basically the formation benefit of Plague Colony reduces weapon skill initiative or units that are locked in combat with your Plague Marines. So why would you? Cloud of Lies doesn't really benefit Plague Colony. It benefits your Relentless Havocs, which you can take at least three units of Havocs in your Chaos Warband. So yeah, it's really funny. Funnily enough, they have the option to take a Raptor Talon, which is very un-Death Guard. They are certainly no longer primarily infantry based and they can take rhinos without restrictions. If anything, I think there has been reckoned to Death Guard having quite a bit of armor and artillery because of all the Plague Burst mortars and Plague Burst crawlers. Uh, and strangely enough, you notice that the Hellforge Warpack and the Demon Engines are conspicuously missing from the list. I guess they had one eye on the new upcoming Death Codex or something, and they knew that none of the Demon Engines aside from the Defiler would make it in. That said, the Heldricks are still in there somehow, despite being replaced by the fitted Blight drones in 8th edition. So I have no idea why you still have Heldricks in there. But uh, yeah. So actually, your Death Guard, most people just play Death Guard as generic Chaos Space Marines with relentless Havocs. Last of all, Emperor's Children. As of this writing, they are no longer in the Chaos Space Marine Codex despite being in there for the longest time, and they are the last of the 4 monogod factions to receive their own standalone codex. They are indexed for now, but as a subject for much better gamers like Gunhammer and their team to tackle. Instead, I'll just point out that they are very different from 3.5. Yes, they retain Fearless, but now, just like Death Guard, they get Feel No Pain too. It just depends, they get a 6-up Feel No Pain, which you can improve to a 4-up Feel No Pain if you give them an Icon of Access. But why not just play Death Guard? I don't get it. They also get to fight on death once, I guess, so I guess that's a thing. Noise Marines, which also are now their own datasheet, are troops. They still have no plastic models though, so aside from the single special edition one with the guitar from a few years ago, but for obvious reasons, the plastic Noise Marines are just over the horizons. Most likely next year, I guess. So Emperor's Children players, please be patient, the time for access is nigh. Now, what do we have? The Sons of Ruin, Rapture Battalions. I'm sorry for cutting out that, but my my Photoshop skills are lacking. The Rapture Battalions, like the Death Guard and the Wood Eaters, the Emperor's Children can take the generic Chaos Warband, which is the boring choice, uh, and what the Death Guard players used to do, or they can take the Cacophony as their core. In other words, lots of Noise Marines. That's what the Cacophony are, Noise Marines. There's not much to say here because, as you can see, the auxiliaries are practically repeat of every other legion except the Thousand Suns. And though strangely enough, the combat drugs, which is their super formation benefit, became a Drukhari thing. Instead, in addition, your Emperor's Children just fights first. In 8 and 9 edition. I think they do that in 10 edition too, but I don't know. We gotta check the 10. We will check the index. Gunhammer will do an analysis on it, not me. I'm not the tournament guy. I'm just the historian. This Traitor Legions Codex supplement, yeah, was released in December 2016, and I think it was actually well received by everyone. I remember a lot of people, like Bells of Lost Souls, for example, writing raving reviews of it because it's actually a very good book. Don't get me wrong, the formations are funny and a lot of them just seem copy and paste because I don't think they put in a lot of thought and effort into designing the super formations for the various generic Traitor Legions. I say generic, but they're not really generic. Unfortunately, it was released in December 2016. And if you remember what I said earlier, 8th edition dropped in summer of 2017. So yeah, I suspect it would be better received and more fondly remembered, perhaps just as much as 3.5 if it wasn't for the silly formations overshadowing it. This was like end of 7th edition and like formations are in full force now. Even more amusingly, the Traitor Legions Codex supplement was only legal for just 6 months, I think, before 8th edition dropped in the summer of 2017. So yeah, that means you probably have like half a year to play with the codex supplement before what was it called? Before your rules and data sheets were invalidated, and that was sad. It was quite sad, especially you paid money for it and then you can't use it as a mere 6 months later. It really is a terrible thing to do. I can relate to that because I'm an Imperial Guard player and they did that to us for 9th edition. Imperial Guard Codex, that's awesome. Very flavorful crusade rules. What I love the armor sentinels. The plasma cannon armor sentinels is just great. I love the Limeras tanks, the tank commanders and the stuff they just gave us was so good. And then 6 months later, 10th edition dropped and the whole 9th edition Astra Mitrum Codex is invalidated. That wouldn't be so bad, except that Crusade also got invalidated. So we can't use the Crusade rules for 9 in 10. Uh, Games Workshop, why? The lore in the book is pretty cool though, and again, it's available in Warhammer Worlds if you're a subscriber of Warhammer Plus. I believe plenty of lore tubers will also cover the Chaos, the Traitor Legions lore. I don't think Arbiter Ian has done a video on it, but surely I think Lutin09 or Oculus Imperial or one of the others have covered it. Me, I'm just doing a bit of 7th edition history and weaving a narrative about the crazy formations. So, in case you're like wondering what the old timer is talking about when he's complaining about formations or whatever, here's the background. Yeah, the context. The main takeaway though isn't the formations, but how the rules of the Traitor Legions have remained consistent and flavorful. Putting the formations and super formations aside, having these special rules applied to each legion and giving them like unique troops choices, such as chosen and terminators for Black Legion, and then giving them other special applying army-wide special rules such as Tank Hunter to Havocs and Obliterators, or giving your specific infantry such as Chosen's Chaos Space Marine squads and cultists infiltrate, or maybe your raptors you give your raptors and infantry fear, stealth, and night vision, or you give your word bearers bonuses to summoning demons. These are like army-wide special rules that make your legion actually feels unique. Furthermore, each of these bonuses remain flavorful and thematic to count a legion that receives them. It's really a nice callback to during 7th edition back to the old 3.5 codex. And I really wish people actually focus on building their armies around these special rules instead. Instead of the super formations that were running rampant during this time, which is really a pity. If it weren't for formations, I think this will actually receive just as much attention as the 3.5 codex. On the other hand, I think it's safe to say that this actually written in some form via Rites of War and Horus Heresy, but that's another topic to cover until such a time. Never mind. Anyway, till then,